Good morning, KidzSpace. How's it going, everyone? So glad to see you guys. I'm glad you guys are watching. Wanted to let you know a few things. First off, just that there should be a link in either below in YouTube or on Facebook, or I'll also share this out in an email, a link to the So-and-So show and the other videos, so you guys can still be able to watch that this morning. And I just want to say good morning from Garfield Memorial Church. Glad to be with you guys. I'm going to tell a story this morning from the book of Luke. And it's actually right after the story that I shared last week about losing your sheep. I do want to mention that I lost my wallet this week. The past few days I was like, let me just pay for that. Oh, where's my wallet? And I'll tell you, I looked everywhere to find my wallet. It actually was here at church, so at some point I left it here and didn't realize it. So I was very excited when I found it. That has to do with our story last week about when you lose something. So this week we're going to pick up right after that. And in Luke 15, starting in verse 11, we kind of pick up where Jesus was sharing with this whole group of people. And there was this group called the Pharisees, and they were these religious leaders who were like, look at Jesus all hanging out with those messed up and sick people and people who aren't perfect and people who make mistakes. And they thought Jesus should only hang out with good, perfect people. And they didn't like what he was doing. So Jesus was like, let me tell you guys a story. And then he told them this story. He said, there was once a man, and this man had two sons, an older son and a younger son. Now, one day, the younger son went to his dad and said, hey, Dad, you know how you have a lot of money? And the dad's like, yeah. He says, well, you know how one day you're going to die? And the dad's like, yes, where's this going? And the son said, well, what if we just pretended like you were dead and you could just go ahead and give me all the money that you would give me once you died? Now you can imagine this probably wouldn't have gone over very well with the dad. The dad was probably like, you know what, I have an idea. Let's pretend like you're dead because I'm going to kill you. The dad was probably not so happy about this, as you could imagine. But in the story, the dad says, well, okay, son. And so he gave the son all of the money that he might get once he died. So the dad gave the younger son all this money. The dad was rich, and so he gave the son all the money that he would get once the dad died. And the younger son was like, oh, cha-ching. And he went out and was like, boop, 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 party, party, boop, 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 party, party, boop, 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 party, party. And he partied like a rock star until, wah, 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 he ran out of money, and he had no money left. In fact, he was so poor after he just went crazy spending all his party money that he eventually was so poor that he had to scrounge around for food. So Jesus told this story. He said, listen, this son, the younger son, was so poor, he went and he asked a farmer, he's like, could I just sleep in your barn and even share food with the pigs? Now, when the religious leaders heard this, when Jesus said, and the younger son just said, could I even share food with the pigs? They were all like, because in their culture, pigs were the most disgusting, dirty animals. They weren't even allowed to eat them. So when they heard this, it would have been like, oh, that is the most disgusting thing I could possibly think of. So the younger son was there, sleeping in the barn with the pigs, even just sharing food with the pigs. And at some point, it says that he came to his senses. He kind of woke up and said, you know what? Even the people who work on my dad's farm, they eat better than I do. So I'm gonna go back and just ask if I could even just be one of the hired people on my dad's farm. So that's what he did. He's like, I'm gonna go home and work on my dad's farm. As he went home, you can imagine he probably thought about what he was gonna say, like what he's gonna say to his dad when he walked in the door, and he's gonna walk home like, okay, I'm so sorry, I messed up. I'm sorry, I was gonna pretend like I stole all the money as if you were dead. I'm so sorry, I'm the worst. If I could just work on your farm, I'm so sorry. Yeah, okay. No, that's not it. Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm a screw up. I messed up. He just thought about all the things that he could say when he got back home to his dad. So, Jesus says that the son was a far way off, and his dad actually, every day his son was gone, sat on his porch looking, waiting, hoping, wondering if his son was ever going to come back. And so on this day, he looked out, and in the distance he saw this guy, and he's like, that's my son. And he got up and he ran to go meet his son. And as soon as he got up to his son, the son started down this, Dad, I'm so sorry. And the dad said, forget about it. And he hugged him. And he said to all his servants who are around him, he said, listen, we need to have the biggest barbecue party we can have. I need us to get the best meat, the best party food. We're going to have the biggest party ever tonight because I thought my son was gone, but he's alive. I thought he left us and I would never see him again, and instead he is alive. And so that night, they had the biggest party ever to celebrate the son's return. Now, there's another part of the story, and you see it's the older brother. Now, the older brother tended to not make a lot of mistakes. He always did what he was expected to. He always did what was right, and he always just kind of did what the father wanted him to do. So, the older brother was mad about this. He was mad, like, why is Dad having this big party for this bad son who did all these bad things? Now he's here, and we have so much to celebrate about. And the brother just said, I am not going in there because he's this crazy brother and blah, 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 blah. And the dad said to the older brother, he said, listen, everything I have is yours. Everything. And you've been with me and you're going to be with me, but this brother we thought was dead is alive again. And this is an opportunity for us to celebrate. Now, I want to ask you guys a question, and it's this idea of, do you think the father should have celebrated when his son came back? Now, you might say, yes, it's his son, but can you imagine that this son said to his dad, give me all the money as if you were dead. Let's just pretend you were dead, and I want all my money, and I'm going to go party. And that's what he said. And in some ways, he deserved to be poor. He deserved the things that happened to him because he made very, very bad choices. But instead, the father forgave him. The father was waiting for him to come home. The father loved his son. He never stopped loving his son, even through the bad choices he made. The father was not going to give up. The father did not want to believe that his son was gone forever. The father was waiting for the son to come home. And that's kind of the point of the story, because it has to do with God's forgiveness. That God says, no matter what you've done or what you're going to do, no matter what mistakes you make, no matter how bad you messed up, God is like the father in the story, sitting on the step, just waiting for his children to come home. He's waiting. And when they do, no matter what they've done, he doesn't need to hear a big, long story or excuse. He just is going to hike up his pants and hug them and welcome them back, because he can't wait to see them again, because he loves his kids. He loves you. So I just want to encourage you this morning. Sometimes this also has to do with us forgiving others. And you remember, forgiveness, it doesn't mean you forget what people have done to you, but it does mean that you let go the need to get even. It means you let it go. You don't forget, but you let go the need to get even with them. And so, kind of the idea Jesus was saying is, he has forgiven all of us so much that we can and should forgive others. So that's the story this morning. Again, check under Facebook in our links, and I'll try to add a link in YouTube, and also in the email. I'll send a link to the So-and-So show and the other video stories. And thanks so much. I'm glad we could share a few minutes this morning, and we will talk again soon. Bye.